please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
Well, come April next year, vehicles plying on Delhi roads can do so much with some much cleaner fuel. As a thick blanket of toxic smog continues to engulf the city and many parts of North India, the Petroleum Minister has advanced the rollout of the Bharat Stage 6 fuel in the national capital. So why is BS6 fuel cleaner? And also more importantly, will it have a significant impact? Ranjay Banerjee reports on the same.
It was a simple notification from the Oil Ministry earlier today, but it is one that could potentially change the air all around national capital, and quite literally so, because vehicles plying on the roads of Delhi could get cleaner fuel starting early next year. Here's what really happened. Earlier today, a notification from the Ministry of Petroleum read, and I quote, "Taking into account the serious pollution levels in Delhi and the adjoining areas, Petroleum Ministry, in consultation with public oil companies, have decided for preponement of BS6 grade auto fuels in the NCT, that is National Capital Territory of Delhi, with effect from 1st of April 2018 instead of 1st of April 2020. But what does this essentially mean? Bharat Stage 6 fuel is much cleaner, as we all know, than the currently used fuel, which is mostly Bharat Stage 4. In fact, Bharat Stage 4 fuel only became available nationwide in April this year. So Delhi will be the first city really, which will be leapfrogging from existing Bharat Stage 4 to Bharat Stage 6 in just the next few months. And nationwide rollout is as scheduled, remember, as far as April 2020 deadline is concerned. But why is this such a big deal? A research by the International Council on Clean Transportation shows that emissions can be cut drastically simply by moving to Bharat Stage 6 fuel norms. Sample this. As far as cars and smaller commercial vehicles are concerned, particulate matter, which is a cause for carcinogenic diseases, can be cut by a massive 82%. For medium and small commercial vehicles, pollutants will come down even more, by 93%. And it's not just the big vehicles here we're talking about, even for two-wheelers, simply by using BS6 fuel. Polluting emissions can be cut down by 89%. Even three-wheelers are not exempt from this, where the reduction in pollution levels is a bit lesser compared to the other two, but it can still be reduced by 41%. But don't get lost in those numbers, because there is a catch. These drastic cuts can only happen if BS6 fuel is paired with a BS6 engine. But that is not going to be the case in Delhi, at least till April 2018, because we will have BS6 fuel on one hand, but we'll have BS4 engine cars on the other. So there's going to be a bit of a mismatch.
Okay, sticking with the story, we also spoke with Pawan Goenka of M&M, who said that the present engines are compatible with the fuel upgrade. R.C. Bhargava of Maruti added that the BS6 fuel will have very little impact on petrol cars.
BS4 engine by and large can use BS6 fuel. There is no problem, because BS6 fuel is designed to, because even when BS6 comes in 2020, there will still be BS4 vehicles that will be running in Delhi or any place in India, and therefore clearly BS6 fuel is usable with BS4 vehicles. That's not a problem at all. I can see three advantages of what the Ministry of Petroleum has announced today. One is, of course, it gives confidence to the auto industry that the fuel will become available on April 2020 throughout the country. Number two, when a lower sulfur fuel is being used, there will be some benefit to PM emission, even with the BS4 fuel. Third advantage is, again, it's just a thought in my mind, that perhaps Government of India can, rather than regulating that BS6 should come faster in Delhi, could give an incentive that those who launch a BS6 model in Delhi before the time of 2020 can get some kind of benefit.
We are glad that the oil industry has started the introduction of BS6 fuel, because for us it is critically important that by the time in April 2020 we introduce the BS6 cars as is mandated by the government, there must be BS6 fuel available in all pumps all over the country. They started the process in Delhi. We hope that they have a plan, well-planned program by which the BS6 fuel will be supplied to all cities and all petrol pumps well before the end of March 31, 2020, because otherwise there'll be a huge crisis in the car industry all over.
Well, we also spoke to M.K. Surana, the chairman and managing director of HPCL. He remained confident about supplying BS6 fuel across Delhi to meet the April 2018 deadline.
As per the policy guidelines which were given earlier, all the companies are taking actions to prepare to supply Euro 6 fuel facilities from 1st of April 2020. Now, because of the situation which are prevailing in the Delhi region, Ministry has taken a step to prepone it to 2018, and that we will be able to do with certain change in our operations. So that we are very confident of meeting of 1st of April 2018 to provide the Delhi NCT region. As far as Delhi NCR region is concerned, that quantity is much higher. That we need to really examine, and then only I can probably comment on that. But as far as 2018 in NCT region, that we will be able to meet.
Okay, staying on the topic of battling air pollution, Delhi's Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal met Haryana's Chief Minister Manohar Lal Khattar yesterday. The two leaders discussed the issues related to the smog nightmare that has engulfed the Delhi NCR region. Now, during their hour-long meeting, Khattar and Kejriwal focused on major concerns like crop burning and vehicular pollution. After the meeting, Arvind Kejriwal said that a collective leadership is needed to tackle the issue of air pollution, while Haryana's Chief Minister added that smog menace in Delhi is a common concern.
सबसे पहले तो हमें ये समझना पड़ेगा कि हमारी टेरिटरीज अलग-अलग हो सकती हैं। हरियाणा की ये टेरिटरी है, दिल्ली की ये टेरिटरी है, पंजाब की ये टेरिटरी है, लेकिन हवाओं के ऊपर किसी का कंट्रोल नहीं है। और जब पूरे उसमें प्रदूषण फैला है, इधर की हवा उधर और उधर की हवा इधर आती है, हम सब लोगों को मिलकर इसका समाधान निकालना पड़ेगा।
एक ज्वाइंट मीटिंग के बाद जो सुझाव एक दूसरे को देने की बात आई थी, वो हमने बड़े कॉर्डियल एक एटमॉस्फेयर के अंदर अपनी बातचीत की है। चाहे उसमें पराली को उसका सदुपयोग करने के लिए कई प्रकार के इम्प्लीमेंट्स हमने यहाँ 8-9 प्रकार के इम्प्लीमेंट्स को किसानों को भी और सरकारी एजेंसियों को भी खरीदने के लिए सब्सिडी भी दी है, और जिसके परिणाम स्वरूप 2 वर्ष से हमारा ये कार्यक्रम चल रहा है। इस बार पराली जलाने की घटनाएं भी हरियाणा में बहुत कम हो रही हैं।
Well, Shree Cement reported a mixed bag of earnings for the second quarter, but the management and the company is confident that the cement demand will see double-digit growth over the next 3 years. They also say that expansion is very much on the cards. CNBC TV18's Kevin Lee spoke to company's managing director Hari Mohan Bangur on the sidelines of the Forbes India Leadership Awards and began by asking him about his outlook on the domestic cement demand. Listen in.
Projects like roads, canals, airports, government is doing a great job. But still the cement demand is not picking up, primarily due to the organized housing. Because of the sudden disruption in the way the housing sector was doing, people are not buying houses and the builders are not able to consume cement. So that is the low side. Overall, we are happy with the situation and I expect good times ahead.
If you had to put a number on how fast you expect cement demand specifically in India to grow over the next 2-3 years, agree with your point that because of disruptions, the real estate industry, which is a big consumer of cement, hasn't really been able to pick up in terms of new launches. But with programs like affordable housing, etc. coming in, what is the pace you expect the cement demand to grow over the next 2 or 3 years?
If I have a vision of 2 to 3 years, it is almost sure I will give 9 out of 10 points that the cement demand will grow about 15% in 3 years' time.
And from a Shree Cement point of view, what is the company focusing on now? Is there a chance that you may foray into more geographies in India? Are you looking at inorganic growth? Because you focused on steady organic growth over the last few years. What is the plan of action for Shree Cements going forward?
Our aim will be to migrate to different geography, both in India and abroad.
Which geographies are you looking at in India to migrate to?
In India, now for cement, it is the 5 geography, north, east, west, south, central. We are already big in north. We have started in east. Now we are going to south. And next 1 year, our south production will be in full swing, and then we will like to go to west and central. So we will like to be a pan-India player.
And outside India, you spoke about expanding there. What are the countries that you're targeting outside India?
We are looking at the Indian Ocean rim, that is from the Middle East, East Africa, or the Southeast Asia.
Well, India's top consumer goods companies expect the lowering of taxes by the GST Council to drive volumes going ahead. They're bullish on growth and recovery in the second half of FY18. CNBC TV18's Priya Seth filed this report.
Business seems to be bouncing back for FMCG companies post demonetization and the transition to GST. In fact, top FMCG companies that we spoke to said that they do expect a pickup in demand after the recent decisions by the GST Council, and they do expect the second half of this financial year to be much better than the first half of this financial year.
I think the short-term pain from demonetization and the implementation of GST is definitely over. I think the second half will definitely be much better than the first half in terms of GDP growth, and I expect we are on an acceleration path in terms of GDP growth now onwards.
In terms of volumes, how would you view the trajectory of volumes?
Well, volumes will grow. I think most of the growth will be through volume growth.
I think this 10% reduction from 28 to 18 is a big reduction. And I definitely think that it will spur demand, it will increase consumption, and it will provide opportunities for the FMCG industry to grow. Currently, the industry is growing in single-digit terms. But with this, hopefully, the growth rate will increase.
So do you think the second half of this financial year will be better than the first half? And do you think that volumes should bounce back in the second half of this year?
It will improve, but it may take a little longer for it to really show all the impact. But definitely compared to the first half, the second half should be better.
And when do you think volumes would bounce back to original levels?
It's difficult to guess, but anywhere between, I think it's a continuum. Every quarter we'll start seeing impact in the next 1 year, I would say.
If you think about this quarter, we've seen just under 6% volume growth. And if you think about it, the first month was a highly muted month, which was almost flat. So the second month and the third month have been reasonably good. So we hope to see, high single-digit volume growths as we go forward. But we don't give any, future outlook. So I'm not going to give you a number for that. Right.
But in terms of timeline, can we expect FY18 or early FY18 to be when volumes will bounce back to sort of original levels?
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. We haven't seen double-digit volume growth for a very long time.
However, one area of concern that still remains is the wholesale channel, and that FMCG companies say may take at least 3 to 6 months to completely recover. And that's a space that they will continue to watch out for. In Mumbai, Priya Seth.
Now, Fivepas Capital, the hived off from financial services provider IIFL Holdings last year, will become India's first online trading firm to list on the exchanges today. Abhishek joins us early this morning to run us through all those details. Hey Abhishek, good morning.
Good morning, Nigel. So Fivepas is a 100% subsidiary of IIFL, which will be demerged today and get listed today. And they are engaged in distribution of financial services and broking services online platform. This is similar to Zerodha, the low-cost online platform. The company plans to acquire 50,000 customers in 2017-18. They have a customer base of about 7,500, and that is growing at 50% quarter on quarter. Fivepas.com also intends to foray into funding of IPOs and debt papers that come in. The ratio of demerger is 1 share of Fivepas.com for every 25 shares of IIFL. So right now the current equity base of IIFL is at 31.85 crore shares. So if you look at the maths, the equity base of Fivepas.com will be about 1.274 crore shares. So this board approval had come in October of 2016, that is last year, and IIFL has also made a capital investment of close to rupees 100 crore into this company. The opportunity opportunities for this company going ahead lies very huge, under-penetrated in smaller cities. That is where their focus is right now. And they will also benefit from the operating leverage. Since this is a low-cost model, you don't have high OPEX in terms of, CAPEX going in. Therefore, operating leverage will help in growing profits ahead. The financials for FY17 was revenue 7.5 crore, while loss of 10.5 crore. Back to you.
Okay, Abhishek, thank you for that. But let's move on and talk about what's happening in the world of commodities. Manisha Gupta joins us now with a roundup of all that is happening. Manisha, good morning. Over to you.
Well, thank you so much for that. It has been quite a choppy, start to the Asian markets for the commodities right now. The crude oil prices, to start with, are trading slightly in the positive after the decline that we saw yesterday. There has been a build-up in the U.S. crude inventories yet again for a second straight month. And you also are looking at the U.S. output at near record highs. There has been a 15% of a jump up or a surge in crude output since last 1 year. And the markets also are watching out for the OPEC output cuts. That's the only thing that really seems to be supporting the market right now, and expectation that the OPEC would continue with this output cut throughout 2018. That's the only way to achieve some kind of a balance into these markets, because apart from the OPEC, the non-OPEC countries are increasing output, as we have seen in huge numbers. The other commodity to keep an eye on, of course, would be the metal space. The weak China data has put pressure. We have seen yet again another day in Shanghai where most of these metals have opened on the weaker side. Iron ore prices are low because of the steel output cuts that we have seen. Many of these ingredients really seem to be facing a flag because of that. So if you look at the iron ore prices, they have opened Shanghai 2% on the lower side. And it is a red across the ferrous and the non-ferrous space, whether it's nickel, zinc, aluminum, all of that has opened on a weaker side for a third straight day in the Asian markets today.
Okay, all right, Manisha, thanks so much for that. Well, to run you through some derivative cues then, if you just take a look at it yesterday, well, the FIs, they were sellers. They sold roughly around 400 crores. But the DIs, they offset all of that. So net institution buy numbers, because the FIs sold 400 crores, the DIs, they pumped in close to around 850 crores. And yet we were down close to around 60 points. You'll see why. Well, prima facie, if you take a look at it, there was unwinding on the Nifty futures. There was unwinding on the Nifty Bank futures as well. So that seemed to be the cause why, in fact, the markets fell in yesterday's trading session. There was no big cash selling. But a closer look at it told you that the FIs, they have been going short, and yesterday they did just that. So yesterday they sold close to around 1,300 crores in terms of index futures, and you got a sense of that because you looked at the premium intraday, that had contracted by roughly around 11 points. At the start of the series, remember the FIs, the long positions in comparison to the short positions, they had 70% of their positions on the index futures that were on the long side. Now what's happened to that is that's come down drastically from around 70% to around 49%, and in fact the short positions have gone up from around 30% to around 51%. And now, as the screen is telling you, there are more amount of short positions than long positions. What most trade experts say is that in fact if they cover these shorts, then we'll see a bit of a bounce. But when does that happen? That's the big cue really. The PCR now is moving towards the lower end of what we've been seeing the range. It's moved to around 1.13. We have seen it bottoming out at around 1.05 approximately. In yesterday's trade, there was call writing. 10,200 call, 10,300 call, 10,100 call. Put that together, nearly around 25 lakh shares were added on the short side in trade. And as the earlier play had signified, they have been buying some puts as well. So that's some protection on the downside. Today, the all-important cue really will be the Nifty Bank weekly options. Remember, we have the 25,000 mark. That's going to be extremely crucial because at the 25,000 put, that's where the highest open interest is. But we're going to start off on an extremely crucial mark, Anisha, the 10,120. That's the level we are at, and that's the 50 DMA. So crucial mark just to kickstart trade.
Okay, so